Welcome to the Chessboxing podcast. This week we have the WCBA British Heavyweight Champion, Matthew Minotaur Coldwell.
Hello there.
Woo! Come on, give him a hand, Matt.
Oh, he's coming up there. That is a meaty applause.
And we've got the most prolific chess boxer of all time, Matt Crazy Arms Reed.
Hello.
Hey, whoop whoop.
And it's me, the Grievous Body Farmer. So we are just catching up with the two Matts after our last event, which was Oktoberfist. How did you think the event went, Matt? You've been to many more events than me. How did it compare to?
I thought I had some of the best action that I've ever seen in a chess boxing ring. I think we had two sort of heavyweight bouts that just brought total war to the ring, in terms of both on the board and in terms of boxing action. You know, both matches. So all four fighters gave it absolutely everything. It's heartbreaking that you have to have a winner and a loser, but yeah, pleased to say that Matt's now a WCBA heavyweight champion.
That's right. And what did you think about our celebrity bout as well? How did that go in your view?
I loved it. I loved the energy. I was cornering for Nikolai Ram, who's the TV presenter, and he was taking on Burke Ruud, who's the Olympic gold medalist from Tokyo Winter Olympics, and it was all action. They weren't the strongest chess players, but actually the game was it was a bit one-sided, admittedly, but actually they played some good moves. But the boxing, my word, I've never seen a backflip actually during the action. I know Prince Nassim Hamed used to come in and do a front flip over the top rope, which was pretty impressive, but to see a standing backflip during a round as a way of showboating is next level, and that's what you get from an Olympic gold medalist.
Are you not entertained?
Wild.
Yeah,
that was completely wild.
and the TV presenter was a showman in himself.
Oh,
I mean, he was doing the whole bolo punches, the Ali shuffles, the taunting to the opponent, the calling to the crowd, everything that you really needed to sort of hype up a fight during a fight.
So we should have a big shout out to all of our friends at NRK who came over to put on what was an exceptional bout. And we're very excited because that bout will be part of a national TV programme.
Now, what's it called? Is it Worldwide of Sports or Wide World of Sports?
It's called the... I'm going to get this wrong. It's called... I think it's something like the Weird World of Sports, but obviously in Norwegian.
Yeah.
so the format is... It's a bit like Parkinson. You know, it's like your sort of... your regular sort of interview celebrity sort of thing, but as a way of being able to talk, a talking point, they do something together, do a strange sport together. So the format will be Burke and Nikolai like sitting on a sofa chatting about our event, and then they'll cut in excerpts from the event, presumably including the backflip.
So it's kind of a bit like Graham Norton meets sort of Top Gear meets like Takeshi's Castle.
Something like that, yeah. Okay.
It's absolutely nuts. So
I love that reference to Takeshi's Castle. I've not heard that phrase for a long time.
He was telling me that he'd just done a half marathon with wine, where you have to drink wine at every mile, and that sounded horrific. And then he was telling me about another sort of...
He did Fireball.
And he also did the beer mile, which is 1 pint every 400 metres. So you have to drink 4 pints and run a mile.
Wow.
And he did it in I think he said he did it in about 9 minutes.
That's not bad.
That's not a bad time for a mile anyway.
Yeah.
You could probably
equally, drink 4 pints. I'm not sure I could do 4 pints in 9 minutes.
I guess the key is to run it quickly, so you don't get drunk until you finish.
World record? What do you reckon the world record is?
5 minutes.
I think it's 5 minutes 30.
Is it? Yeah.
Which, considering that's going to be a sub 5 minute mile plus 4 pints.
Yes, you're going to be running the 100 metres in 400 metres in not far over a minute 4 times.
I would love to see Mo Farah
work.
do that. He's probably not got the body weight. You probably need to be quite a big bloke to.
Yeah, but then if you're a big bloke, you don't want to get around 1,600 metres.
Yeah, it's going to be hard work.
True, but you want something to dilute that alcohol in. You need a lot of blood.
The first pint's going to be 15 seconds for me. I can't neck it in one, but I can drink a pint relatively quickly.
I reckon the Northern Powerhouse would be...
The Powerhouse would be... If I had to back anybody on a beer mile...
Well, the question now is are the pints cold? Because if the pints are warm...
Yeah.
Sink it straight away, no problem with that. But if it's a cold pint, I think it might put off any Northerners.
Presumably, it's a bit like those eating competitions where you have tactics. And
there's going to be some sort of specialism.
You really want just like a stomach pump operating in reverse.
Well, some people
just
can
have a pipe down your gullet.
Literally just unhook the gullet. So
exactly. Some people can just pour just whatever alcohol, water, insert liquid here, just straight down the throat, and not even swallow, just sink it, which would be a useful skill if you're trying to do that. but also very
maybe
dangerous.
we'll see it on the Chessboxing Christmas pub crawl.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to it.
We can also include the hill. That way they're going to run up to Highgate or something where there's going to be some vomiting that day. But I just think it's such a great show. And what Nikolai and Burke both said is that they've done a lot of weird things. Certainly Nikolai being the TV presenter. And yet they thought that chessboxing was not only the weirdest, but it was the best by far. And I was like, best hybrid sport. Best sport, period.
I was a little bit jealous, actually, thinking of not just them, but anybody coming to do it for the first time. I've done it 3 times, Matt. You've done it 30 times, but the first time you do it is quite special. How did it compare? Because obviously this is your second fight, Matt.
Only the second fight, properly in the deep end. Well, I thought this event, just as an overall show, was absolutely superb. You got to see all of the best things about chess boxing in one neat 5-fight package. Because you had your fight, Matt, first up.
Not the crowd, please.
It was brilliant.
You had a great sing-along intro.
I got the crowd going for the entrance, but in terms of the boxing action, left a little bit to be desired.
But you had the drama of that final chess round was absolutely superb. When Pete was trying desperately to stall out the clock and make it to the next round of boxing, and I came out the changing room thinking, he's made, because I was watching the live feed from the dressing room, and I came sprinting out thinking that Pete had made it, and I got there, realised the bout had called up. I genuinely thought that your corner had pulled you out before the next boxing round because you've been so badly beaten up. And
shout out to Pete. He did a fantastic job in the ring for a debutant.
Oh, he was superb.
I actually felt a little bit second that he didn't get the win because he so thoroughly deserved it.
Yeah, he was.
He trained hard. We had this lovely intro video for everybody that was there on the night and that they could see on the big screen.
Yeah, Richard did a great job with those, didn't he? They were brilliant.
Yeah, so he was cross-country running, he plays rugby, and I'm like, oh, dude's fit. Oh, he's so young. I was giving away basically a moderately aged teenager in terms of generation gap between myself and Pete, and he really showed that energy and enthusiasm.
How are the old ribs after the fight?
I thought they were broken. They certainly weren't broken. By about the Thursday, I could actually sort of tap that area and not wince too bad. But the next day, any laughter, which there wasn't a lot of laughter the next day anyway. It was, I almost cried whenever I sneezed. It was that debilitating.
I actually thought both your intros were good. It was a great way to start the show. Because you guys were first. Yeah. Straight up, the whole crowd was singing along to yours.
They get drunk very quickly is what I'd say.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were singing along, honestly. It set the tone for the whole evening, I thought.
Pub karaoke is the best.
Yeah. Absolutely, thoroughly agree.
And Pete the Heat had the heaters on, didn't he?
The Top Gun, it was very good.
It was brilliant.
And he really brought the heat. I mean, that's the thing.
Did,
I mean, I'm definitely
he lived up to his nickname, didn't he?
I'm like that guy from Lethal Weapon that keeps on going, I'm too old for this shit. I really am a little bit like, every time I went in there, I was just like, throw a punch, and then you take 3. Throw another punch, and then you take like 5. And in the end, the ratio of like my punches to his punches was probably like 1 in 10.
Yeah. When you started off, I thought pretty well, Matt, but he got inside your range. And once that
when
happened,
somebody figures you out in 30 seconds, that's it. I confused him for 30 seconds.
It all fell to pieces quite quick. Because once he got inside, I can tell he had some serious power behind his punches.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's a big, strong lad.
Yeah. He certainly looked fit.
Yeah, he got robbed.
It was very impressive.
Sorry, Pete, if you listened to it.
But yeah, that last chess round the action was absolutely, it was so tense. It was brilliant.
At the end.
It was brilliant.
And Matthew, what did you think of the second bout? Did you manage to catch that, or were you?
Yes, that Jack versus Ollie, that was a good one as well. So those two are both making their debut, I believe, weren't they?
That's right.
Yeah, that was a good fight.
Very tasty boxing.
Yeah, very. They both got very distinctive, rather interesting styles. Jack, I've compared him to a secretary bird before. You know, in the David Attenborough documentaries.
Yeah.
The bird
with the feathers that come
the
out
long
the back
legs
of the head.
that hunts snakes. Yeah, because he goes forwards with a very, very upright posture with his hands right up by his head and just walks straight into range, takes some shots on the gloves, and then just unleashes just unfiltered violence on his opponent.
I think they both did incredibly well. I completely forgot that was both their first fights. Incredible.
Yeah, they got stuck in straight away, didn't they?
Yeah. And there was no stepping back. I think Jack in particular, he wasn't, he was moving forward.
Jack's literally he's a 2-gear fighter. Neither of those is reverse.
No, exactly.
He never takes a step backwards. It's like literally he's only got high and higher gear.
Yeah, it's stalking
there is
and
no
violence.
Medium or low.
Yeah. Whereas Ollie was a bit more sort of stick and move, but
Ollie's got the technique. He's got more of the style. Ollie's a nicer boxer to look at.
But the issue was because he was down in the chest, he had to press the action. And I've got to be honest, trying to press the action against Jack sounds like a terrifying prospect. Yeah. Well, absolutely terrifying.
You burn through so much energy.
Oh, yeah.
Fair play to them for a debut fight.
Yeah, they did really, really well. Really, really well. That was a good one. The chess was classy as well, actually. That was a very good game. Came down to a rook end game,
And
didn't
then
it?
our third fight, one entrance from Dele.
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way.
He loved it,
He's
didn't
a
he?
born showman.
To be
Absolute born
honest,
showman.
he was a better showman probably than the TV presenter, who is literally a professional showman.
Yeah, Dele was loving it the whole time.
Yeah.
He was
He's
really
got
up for it.
physique on
He's
him.
magnificent,
Oh, man.
isn't
He is
Yeah.
literally, he's like David just been sculpted out of marble.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like, oh
Very
my
impressive.
word. Yeah, I was about to say, I've got a
the
man
be-
crush
the
on
the
Dele.
best thing about his intro that he was wearing a hat for no apparent reason.
He's a gentleman.
Just could throw it into the
He's a
crowd.
gentleman.
He's the gentleman. Gentlemen wear hats. Wasn't that
I
the
just
point?
love the fact he had a hat on.
Yeah, I think it must have been just to throw it into the crowd.
Yeah.
Because he's the gentleman. Surely
Okay.
that's what he has to do.
I mean, it was one of those big hats with a big rim that you would wear if it was very sunny and we were all
Yeah,
inside. I just thought there was no real rhyme or reason to his intro, but he just was absolutely fantastic.
No, it was great, yeah.
His little dancing
The
and
tune
everything.
was a
Oh, and
cracker
shout
as
out
well.
to Yordan, who basically got through an absolute war of a fight. And
Yeah.
he recently had, I mean, I was just hearing about this in the dressing room beforehand, so a bit of fighters'
Yordan's
anecdotes.
such a great guy.
He had altitude sickness.
Yeah.
Was it Kilimanjaro?
Yeah, he
did
climbed
come-
Kilimanjaro
yeah, he did.
effectively as part of his training. What a nutter.
But he'd been so sick, he had like a week's worth of illness where he was basically unable to train, vomiting, and
Oof.
not pleasant, and not for the
No.
podcast. But
I have to say, I thought Dele wasn't what I expected. I thought Dele was going to be much more technical.
Yeah, well,
But he was actually just, he's very domineering.
Well, they
wasn't
both
he?
should have been, because so I've sparred both of these lads,
They're
and
both
they
technical
are
fighters.
they're
But
really,
Yordan's
really,
technical,
really
yeah.
hard to nail down. They're really slippery. Yordan's got a beautiful pendulum step on him, where he'll just jump in and out of range, pop you with his long shots, and you can't touch him. And Dele's a bit more compact, a bit more together, but he's got a lovely little shoulder roll. It's so hard to nail either of them down, and myself and a few other guys who've been sparring both of them, and we'd both, I think myself, Dash, David, we'd all said to both of them, so, "Oh lads, the guy you're in with, he's a bloody good fighter. This will be a good one." And I don't think either of them expected what the other had. Just like, to you scrubs, I'll be fine. But then they jumped in the ring, and when I think because Dele launches into like a peekaboo style hook, like Mike Tyson-esque, goes straight in. Lands a jabs on Jordan's face immediately, and then they both just stood middle of the ring. It's like, no, you go backwards. I'm the big man here, and it was brilliant. It was they as skilled as they are. They decided to just stand in the middle of the ring and just smash.
that was definitely a fight that should have ended
Fabulous.
probably in the ring. It got so close to being stopped.
So close, yeah.
I could see Ronaldo twitching with like, if he doesn't throw back now, I'm going to stop it. And then
Yeah.
there's a throwback punch. It's
Well,
like,
I heard-
I'll give it another 5 seconds. He was constantly looking to step in, and he kept on letting it go. And in the end, I was about to say, it seems disproportionate for only to be one boxing fight, one to end on the boxing in the last 5, but it should have been maybe 2.
Well, I heard from Yordan afterwards, because both of them, to be fair, looked a little worse for wear after the fight. But I heard from Yordan afterwards, apparently he had 2 mouthpieces for the fight,
Oh, right,
so he
yeah.
kept falling out.
Kept falling out.
Well, the
didn't it?
first one apparently. Basically, Dele clipped him so hard with one of his hooks in the first round, it broke its mouthpiece.
Oh, right.
And so it just
God.
didn't fit properly. So he had to go for the reserve mouthpiece, which was just a bit rubbish.
Good job we had a reserve one.
Yeah.
Well, I was about to say that was awesome.
That's quick thinking from me, because I didn't have a reserve mouthpiece.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah, I was. But yeah, in the second round, I thought Yordan was starting to find his rhythm, pop those long shots, back Dele up a bit. But then the third, he just got caught coming in with a big hook, and man, that was a shot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Do you think the boxing affected the chess?
Definitely, because, well, I mean,
I would back Yordan not most of the time on the chess.
Yeah.
anyway.
There was a bit
I thought Yordan was going to be a much stronger chess player.
well,
It's hard under the
dropped
lights.
the-
Of course
Yeah.
it is. I'm not. So
He
I'm not
dropped
having
the
a go at
exchange,
Yordan.
didn't
at
he?
Oh,
all.
no,
I
but we
mean,
know how
what
good
I'm
a
saying
chess
is
player
it's the
is.
circumstances. I
Yeah.
think that created that.
I mean, he did drop the exchange. And I think, to be fair, he did have compensation if he'd have been, because he had that knight wedged in a d4, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which is actually a lovely position. If he'd have taken back with the knight rather than the pawn, I think he'd have had full compensation for that exchange. And actually, it would have been really difficult for Dele on the chess.
But going back to what you were saying
yeah.
about the boxing effect in the chess, we saw it in that fight. We certainly saw it in our final event. And if we move on to that,
Before we go on to that, though, I've got to just mention one of the best moments of the night was the pre-celebration
Oh,
celebration.
no.
Oh.
Poor guy.
When Dele thought he'd won, he
That's-
celebrated.
Yeah.
It's like hands in the air, running around the ring, and then, oh, actually, no.
That's
legal move.
a now infamous moment of Dele announcing checkmate, and it wasn't.
check it out. We've got our live stream is on our YouTube channel. Just check that one out.
Yeah.
So I think there are 2 clipped out videos. One is that, and one is the backflip. So if you get a chance, just
but-
head over to
they're both gonna go down.
youtube.com/chessboxing.
both going to go down in chess boxing history, I imagine, those two moments.
Definitely. But nothing compared, I have to tell you, Matthew, to the last fight, the last bout.
Couldn't agree more.
Was easily the best fight of the whole evening, Matt.
Yeah, it was the biggest war. It had the highest quality chess. It had a bit of everything. It was lovely to, you always want to build a show. You want to start with your worst, so I always open.
Come on.
And then you want to build up to it. You want to get the crowd more and more hyped for chess boxing to the point where they're basically at a frenzy when we get to the main event. And we got there. Yeah. We got there with great fights all along the way, and then all of a sudden we have our best for last, and that you can't script it any better than that.
No. Well, I'll take some credit for that, couldn't I?
Because you did script it. Yeah. It wasn't just random guys. There is some thought that go into our
We do think about these things as it happens. So come on then, Matt, take us through the chess first.
So, well, obviously I'm flattered that you think it was such a good event. But yeah, David and I had never played chess before.
Really?
No.
Okay.
It's nice though going in completely cold.
Well, we had sparred a few times before, and I remember sparring him in the lead up to my first fight against Dash in March, and he absolutely crushed me. Like I got hit with a straight right down the pipe, straight into my nose. My nose exploded, and I spun round. It was awful. So that was a bad start. So going in, I hadn't played chess with him, knew obviously he's much better than me on paper, and we both know full well that he has the power to stop me, and that despite best efforts, I probably don't have the power to stop him. That was the information we had going in. But luckily, I'd done some preparation, so I thought he was going to play the Sicilian, or if I played d4, the Dutch, because I hadn't decided which opening to go with until just before the fight, basically. And luckily, he played the French and gave me a free advantage, which was lovely. I've got to call out the chess boxing commentator, Matt.
Matt Lunn.
Matt Lunn, yeah. So when I took the c pawn, d takes c5, it was just described as an odd capture. That is theory, Matt. That's theory. It's plus 0.3 according to the fish.
Matt.
It's all fine. There's
Matt's not going to be
any
happy about
danger there. So
Let's do his homework.
Yeah. You hear that, Matt?
Yeah, and there were a couple of moments. I thought honestly, I was dead pleased with my chess. Actually, I mean, obviously the French. I've got no respect for the French. Sorry, French players. It's a terrible opening. Learn something good.
Okay, and then how did it progress from the French opening?
Yeah, well, so I got a nice space advantage. There was a move, rook e1. I could have just jettisoned the pawn rather than defending it, and I don't like defending stuff, so I'm a bit disappointed I missed that. I could have just gambited the pawn and carried on, but I got a nice space advantage, rolled on, missed. I think coming out of the first boxing round there was I let his knight fought my queen and bishop and dropped my light square bishop, which was a lovely piece. It's a bit of a shame.
Well, just for against that, let's talk about the first boxing round, because
yes.
there was some I was surprised at the tactics that David exhibited, which, as far as I can tell, was to come out all guns blazing and try and overwhelm you.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised at those tactics, to be honest. That's kind of what I was expecting.
Because as a stronger chess player, I don't know, Matt, you're very experienced. What would you be looking to do as a stronger chess player?
Well, definitely as a stronger chess player, I'd always look to win it on the board. The problem I have is that I'm never going to be the stronger boxer. Dave went in believing he was both.
Yes.
And there is that sort of machismo pride that, actually, I always say that you want to win on the boxing, you never want to lose on the chess. And I don't always have the ability to win on the boxing, so I think Dave just got a bit sucked into the whole, it's going to be a crowd pleaser if I knock him out, let's finish with an early knockout. So he goes and maybe he gasses himself a little. He's not in the shape that he probably wanted to be for the fight, maybe, I don't know.
He had a couple of injury issues leading up to the fight, so I know that disrupted his preparation. But even having said that, you would have thought that would make him a little bit more considered when he's.
It's a gamble. It's a
hard,
gamble.
yeah.
If you go in with a high risk sort of boxing strategy, you've got the chance of winning on the boxing. You've also got the chance of hurting your opponent so much that they're going to come back and make some dreadful chess moves.
Yeah, I mean, certainly he believed in his power. I mean, maybe he wasn't thrilled with his position. I certainly wouldn't be if I played the French.
No, I mean, he starts off with
so you
chess.
think that might have impacted?
Yeah, like
decision,
it's not. Because he'd be expecting to grind me down, but there's nothing immediately there. So I think he probably wanted to come out, make a statement, and really like just psychologically deliver that blow, which he did. To be fair, like it was because I went in basically, and I'm going to go try to keep as high a tempo as I can, and in the belief that my chin is better than his engine, which didn't start very well.
No, I don't know. I thought you weathered the storm well. I think.
Yeah.
it went as I expected, to the extent that I know you to be a technical boxer.
Yeah.
And I know
It's
David's
hard.
very powerful, and he relies on his power, and that kind of got that played out.
Yeah, well,
And I think having weathered the first 30 seconds, a minute of that round, I thought you looked much more comfortable.
I didn't weather the first minute particularly well, ending up on the floor, having been put through the ropes. That was yeah. It didn't. So luckily, I did have some practice getting up. So having done some quite a lot of sparring in the lead up. Shout out to the sparring partners back in Salisbury. Jason is a local light heavyweight champion. Won a title down in Bournemouth. There's Rad, who was a guy who was in the training camp for the 2012 Olympics. A couple of young lads, Walty and George. Ray, my coach, his nephew Alex, was sparring with him. And yeah, they were all really, really helpful. Got a lot of rounds in. But about 10 days before the bout, I was sparring against Jason, who basically injured his back a bit. Wasn't quite as up to it as much as he's not, because normally he kicks my ass. But because he wasn't quite fully fit, I started jabbing him, like raising his head up, backing him up, which didn't go down too well with him. So he came in with this body jab, which I bit on, threw a check hook, and he came over the top with a big right, perfectly on the chin, and I went down, perfect crucifix position, like arms out, legs out. It must have looked brilliant from the outside, but that was not a good intro to boxing. But yeah, I'd been put on the floor a couple of times in sparring in the lead up to then, so I did have some practice. Compose myself, like. So
when you went through the ropes, was that what was that? Did you trip, or how did you?
No, that was a I waded in with I think it was a body jab. I can't remember exactly, but he clipped with the right hand. I was a bit off balance. We have the right hand and then a left for good measure on the way down, both to the side of the head, and yeah, put me through the ropes. So it wasn't like clean, but it was the force of the punch. It's just concussive power that did it, rather than scrambling my balance or anything like that. But he got me good with a few big shots in the second round, because by the third, you can see on the you can see back on the video, before the third round, I actually drop and touch the floor with my gloves, basically to check that I can still bend my knees, because I was in a bad way, actually, at that point.
There's a great photo, I don't know if you've seen it, I think it's on Facebook, of you having your count on your knees. Yeah. It's quite atmospheric, yeah.
Shout out to Ronaldo as well.
What were you thinking at that point?
Shout out to Pavel, the photographer, for that.
Oh, yes, Pavel, as well. Yeah, he did a great... There were so many great photos from the whole event. But yeah, I was just trying to compose myself. So
you think I need to take all this time?
Yeah, I had a count in my head, and yeah, I'd say it was just breathe, settle my heart rate, and just take as much time as I can, compose myself. So I had a count in my head, and I looked up at Ronaldo, and he was slightly behind me, which was good. So I waited for 8, got up. Yes, my legs work. Excellent. Let's carry on.
Well, so it's high drama at that moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was amazing to watch. So how did that then play into the chess? Obviously, you're both presumably exhausted after the first boxing round, and probably the second and third, yeah.
Well, yeah, I went and I thought it was important to show David that I was still there and keen, so I joined in with the berserker clap in between the first and second round. We got to the board. When we got to the board, there was a bit of chat to start with. Before the second round, before the second chess round, David meets the board and says, "Good round, that." And then so after the second, when I met him at the board the second time, I was like, "You all right, mate?" But then after the third, we were both so exhausted we didn't say anything.
So talk us through the chess then. So we've done the opening.
Yeah.
Now you're into the middle game.
Yeah, got a fine position. Obviously, I'm liking it.
So at this point, you're thinking, if this plays out on the board, I should be winning.
Yeah, so I'm staring. Well, better at the very least. It's not like winning, but it's better for white, and it's certainly a comfortable position to play. So I'm staring at his king as I normally do. Like all my bishops are pointed that way. It's all looking pretty good. Yeah, I slightly fluffed it a bit because I had a nice kingside attack potentially brewing, and I did fluff it a bit by letting his knight fought my bishop and queen, lost the light square bishop, which is a lovely looking piece, absolutely beautiful. But I turned it around by jettisoning the c pawn, opening up the c file, and doubled up the rooks there. So yeah, basically back in control. I'm not sure if there was ever an advantage for black. I'm not sure.
Probably right at the end.
Well, yeah, at the end, yeah. But at this point, I think I was
never
mostly
early on. No.
Yeah.
I think it was, if anything, it only got bigger.
Yeah, so I got the rooks doubled up on the C file, and yeah, that was looked pretty tasty to me.
So the first boxing exchange is you pushed through the ropes. You had a 8 count.
Yeah.
And then how did the boxing progress? Because the table started to turn, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, I tried to basically play it off like he hadn't hurt me, which was a blatant lie. But I tried to just keep the action up, try to keep the pace up, and come the second round. So I'd done a lot of work downstairs to try and slow him down. That was a lot of the games. There's a lot of shots to the body. Even when he'd like shoved me into the corner and is properly going for it, there are a few little hooks going in downstairs. So I was trying to drain him, basically, the water in the basement approach. And so, come the second, he'd put me back in. Yeah, he was actually all over me in the second round for most of it. He put me up into the corner, right by the camera, which was really good for the shot because he throws a jab over my left shoulder, and I caught him with a picture perfect 1-2, and really backed him up after that. And Ronaldo started counting. I can't remember exactly what happened immediately before the count, but Ronaldo gave him a standing count
eight,
for that. Yeah,
because you could see his legs were starting to go.
He definitely looked a little bit groggy.
No, the 1-2 was that was on the button. That was a money shot. The right.
Because you were starting to. Well, you were starting to land some technically decent shots.
Yeah.
Whereas David, I think, was still going for the sort of overwhelming, just throwing as many big shots as possible, but getting tired and therefore not really landing.
Yeah, well, I think his guard was starting to slip a bit at that point. Not that he wasn't landing, because he caught me with a couple of cuffing hooks in that second round, about midway through, which backed me up, which is annoying because I don't like backing up. But yeah, so at the end, definitely got the better of the second round. Joined it with a berserker clap again. Meet with the board, back to business.
And then how did you leave that last round of chess then? Because it ended in the next round of boxing, didn't it?
No, there was a third round of boxing.
Was there? Okay.
Yeah, there was 4 rounds of each. So the third one basically. What happened in that round of chess? I think that was when I got the rooks infiltrating. Got the rook into c6. And started basically just poking around his queen. I should at some point have been chastised for not playing the h3 or some move to give my king some space on the back rank, because it was an overwhelming positional advantage. Also, apparently, when I got in with the rook into c6, apparently taking with the pawn was better, but I thought it was I thought it was a good position. I was happy with it.
It was a big positional plus.
Yeah,
it was just how it ended, and I think that's what we need to look at.
Yes, the nightfall. That was a brilliant move. Again.
Of course. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was the final move of the chess, because we were knackered after that third. I genuinely felt after the third round of boxing, and it was probably the round where David kind of did the least, but I was so exhausted I thought my lungs were going to explode.
So just for the simpletons in the studio, i.e. me, basically my memory of it was that you were besieging his position, his king. You're totally on top.
Yep.
You're basically doubled up your rooks. You're basically just going in for the kill, and suddenly he pulled out this incredible fork out of nowhere.
Stunner. Yeah, so it was a completely free knight. The knight was loose, no defenders, attacking my queen and rook. But if I took it, there was a checkmate in 3.
Yeah,
which is unstoppable. And it all came about because I foolishly took a free pawn without.
So he led you down the garden path with a free pawn.
I mean, it's not the fact that at that point that Matt's completely out of it.
No.
It's just the fact that every advantage he's got has now been turned
in the
around,
bin. Yeah,
completely gone, and it's now sort of edging towards Dave. Yeah. Dave's got the easiest position to play from here on.
Yeah. Moral of the story: don't take free pawns. Always sacrifice the pawns instead. It's much better that way. I should have just played.
And so, what point did the bell go then for the boxing?
So I hadn't responded to that move at that point. And there was, again, shout out to the chess commentators here. They recommended e6 rather than just taking the pawn, which is what got me in trouble. But also, I think Queen D7 was what was their recommended move at that point. That loses on the spot because you can actually pin the queen to the back rank with one of the rooks, and rather than just losing an exchange, then you're losing a queen for a rook. So that if I'd have played that, I'd have been in horrible shape.
Ooh, but so another criticism.
Yeah,
of the
luckily
commentary.
I did
I
find.
love you, Matt.
Luckily I did find.
They don't know what they're talking about.
I think queen over to the C file is keeps the exchange. Well, yeah, you know, I'm sorry to do this with Matt, who's a lovely guy and does a absolutely great job, but you know, he
not what I'm hearing.
He criticised my
all I'm hearing is
he criticised my opening when my opponent plays the French defence, and I'm not having it. The French is terrible.
Okay.
No, 0 points.
Okay, so we've come to the end of the chess round.
Yep.
You're basically going into the ring thinking, I've just thrown away all my advantage.
Yeah, David is definitely better.
David's had a standing 8.
Yep.
I've had an 8 count.
Yep.
I've been out of the ropes.
Yep.
This is it. This is the time.
Well,
I've got to make an impact.
To be fair, I arrogantly thought, okay, well, I've lost an exchange, but I've got a pawn for it, and I've got 2 minutes for it, and that's probably worth it. So I arrogantly thought my chess position was at least salvageable.
So you weren't thinking I've got to go and knock him out. You're thinking
No.
I need to get through this round.
Yeah. So it's the same. So cornermen again. Shout out Ray and Dennis. They were awesome. Absolutely brilliant. All through the fight.
What happened then?
Well, so I think honestly, if you'd have told David at any point, at some point in the fight, Matt's going to stand right in front of you at mid-range and just trade, he would have probably take my money. That is brilliant. That's exactly what I want. Because, we just set off, and about 20 seconds into this round, we stood middle of the ring and were just looping hooks at each other. Zero technique, just roll, hooks. And, eventually I broke through with, what was it? With jab, I think it was jab, uppercut, long lead hook, cross over the top, and eventually I hit home with a 4-punch combination, which backed him up. And again, Ronaldo got a standing count in, and then at that point he was spent. Tried to clinch, didn't have the strength left to clinch, so I was pushing him around, which he wouldn't have expected going because he's a bigger guy. So I was pushing him around, and I think on just off the break of one of the clinches, I broke through and threw a left hook off the clinch, and when that went in, he was done. He didn't throw a single punch after that, and I mean, all credit to him. He's a tough guy. Is
that when the towel came in?
No. The towel didn't come in for another 30 seconds.
Okay.
Because he refused to go down.
He was basically done.
Yeah, he was.
I think Jake made the right call.
He absolutely refused to go down, Dave.
To do.
No.
Of course not.
But
the right thing to do.
Yeah, he was not giving in. His heart was still willing, but his body was done. He had nothing left to give.
Well,
fair play to him, because he was a tough lad. Fought his heart out.
Yeah, and he's just sort of brought it back in the chess. So it is. It's quite sort of annoying in the boxing.
He would have been.
You sort of think, now I can actually prove it on the board.
Yeah, he would have been desperate to make it through, but just nothing left in the tank, unfortunately for him. Luckily for me.
But what drama!
Yeah,
incredible. Man. Absolutely incredible bout. And if you've not seen it, the whole show is on our YouTube channel. Go and have a look. Yeah. But it was a privilege to watch it in person.
Yeah.
No.
And thank you very much both for fighting.
Well,
you've got a title to defend now, mate.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know who's coming for it now. Dave's already said he's up for a rematch. Dashel was the first person I got. As soon as I got out of the ring, he was so when's the rematch, Matt? So, well, you better get a heavyweight now, mate. I call the shots. I think you mentioned Carl before.
Carl definitely fancies a fight.
Yeah. I'm not sure how big he is, but yeah. And the other...
He's slight heavyweight, really.
Okay. But the other heavyweights...
Has he fought a heavyweight?
Oh, definitely fought a heavyweight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the other heavyweights...
They were similar weight on the night.
Yeah, okay.
I think him and Dashel actually would be...
Oh, right, that'd be tasty.
Suited,
yeah, the other heavyweights I think who are on wins are, Dele now, and Andrew, who beat the Berserker. I think they're the other...
That's true.
They're the other heavyweights with wins, so...
Yeah.
But Yordan's had 2 losses on the bounce, hasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean,
he might want to go.
If you fancy a bit of Yordan, I was about to say he's still a.
Oh man, he's a bloody good boxer. Very good boxer.
Wouldn't be a bad fight.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say there'll be something coming up. Maybe at Chocks.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're running out of time. Thank you very much for fighting and coming on the podcast.
Pleasure. Most welcome.
We've got a few announcements that are pending. We haven't actually quite made all our preparations, but we're planning a big event in the summer of 24, potentially a whole weekend of chess boxing as a chess boxing festival, which we're very excited about. We're also just putting together some merchandise. We're going to be launching our online shop, so by the time this goes out, you'll probably be able to buy some chess boxing merchandise for Christmas.
All right,
That's
fantastic.
the kind of thing. And also, are we having? Well, there's no Christmas show this year, unfortunately. So we're going to have a chess boxing drink, a pub crawl, call it what you will.
Chess event.
Chess event on the 2nd of December at the Shaftesbury Tavern in Islington, just by Islington Boxing Club, and after training. That's on the 2nd of December. Matt Reed, is there anything you want to say? Any shout-outs?
No, just a shout out to all the fighters from the Oktoberfist show. I thought it was absolutely awesome, and I look forward to watching the NRK episode when it gets streamed.
Definitely. Matthew. Sorry, I'll call you Matthew.
Yeah, just for distinction. Just thanks for everyone from Salisbury for coming down. It was great, and also for all the training, all the guys who beat me up in the gym, all the chess players. Yeah, it's been awesome. Can't wait to do it again.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing you both back in the ring soon.
Yep.
Thank you very much once again. And just make sure you follow us on social media at Chessboxing Nation for announcements about our upcoming events in 2024. Thank you very much.
All the best, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Just before you go, Chessboxing fans, we have got merchandise for sale for Christmas. What do you want for Christmas? Do you want a chessboxing training top? Yes, you do. Do you want a trucker's cap? A CBN trucker's cap? Yes, you do. Do you want a hoodie with a berserker on it? Go to chessboxingnation.com and get your merch for Christmas. If you use the code London Chessboxing, you'll get 20% off. That's right, 20% off. If you spend £50 or more, you get a free cap. So that's it. Go to chessboxingnation.com, get your merchandise for Christmas.